أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We're starting with الدرس الرابع عشرة. الدرس الرابع عشرة is 14th lesson and the title is بيت بكر, and the letter ba here, second, the letter ba here represents that this is a second part of this topic, because in the last lesson we had بيت بكر and they had Hamza. Hamza means basically the first part, and this is the second part. So we're still talking about the house of Bakr, Bakr's house, right? Now, uh, so the first sentence we have أين البيت يا بكر. أين البيت يا بكر. أين is it means where. You know, you're asking someone about something. Where is something, right? So أين means where. البيت يا بكر. So ya bakru, this is a ya is usually used for calling someone, right? You have someone in front of you, or you see someone and you're calling them. Okay, you're addressing that person. Okay, then you say ya bakru, ya Muhammad, ya Bakr, ya Muhammad, ya Khalid. You're calling someone, right? So it has that. For example, if you want to literally translate this phrase ya bakru, you'll probably translate something like oh Bakr, you know. But in English, we probably don't translate O or use O that often. But in Arabic language, the ya is used very often. Okay, so when you're addressing someone who's someone in front of you, and usually you will not just say aina al baytu bakru. You will not say it like that. You need to have this ya before calling his name, right? So ya bakru. So it's basically saying, where is the house O Bakr. Okay, so however you want to translate that. So, but basically that is the phrase. So I can write it here. Where is the house? Oh, I don't know. Oh, Bakr. Right? You understand. Now, there's something to keep in mind. As you can see, we had the name was Bakrun, right? Bakrun. But we don't have Tanween here. This is one of the rules when you use ya. Okay, ya. When you use ya, you cannot use tanween after ya. Okay, so for example, you say ya Muhammad, ya Muhammad. You say ya Muhammadu, Muhammadu. You don't say ya Muhammadun, ya Khalidu. Right, so you cannot have a tanween after ya. Even if you're calling someone, you know, you see a boy on the street and you're calling him, you don't know his name, so you say, how do you say boy in Arabic? You say waladun, right? Waladun. So you're calling him, so you'll say ya waladu. You lose the tanween. Okay, ya waladu. Okay, so something to keep in mind. Now, the next line we have البيت في شارع المسجد الحرام. البيت في شارع المسجد الحرام. Okay, so we should be able to translate this. It means the house is in the Masjid al-Haram, so the sacred mosque street, or the street of the sacred mosque, right? So we analyzed this phrase in the last class. Now, okay, and then we have كم إيجار كم إيجار البيت. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. So we have come. Come is usually used for asking about how many. Maybe I should write it here. How many or how much. Okay, you can use it for both situation. Okay, so it depends on you know, you will translate a how many and how much using English rules, right? So, but you'll be using the same word. Kam means how many. Okay. Now the issue is Now, let's look at this one first, then I'll explain something. Ijar is rent. You know, ijar is rent. Okay, and al-bayt is of course byte. So you can obviously see what kind of phrase we have. This is the idafa phrase, right, of construction. So we have uh, the rent of the house, right? So we can write rent of the house. Okay, because all the rules follows. This is indefinite and there's no tanween, and we have kasra. Now, but the issue is there's a mistake here. What happens is after come, the noun needs to be in mansub state. Basically mean it needs to have fatha. Okay, so after come it should be actually fatha, right? So you should be saying kam ijarul bayti, not ijarul bayt. It should be ijarul bayt. All right, this is one of the rules. Inshallah, maybe we'll learn it in this lesson. It's definitely a mistake. Now, so you're asking how many, or here it would be how much, right? You're asking how much is the rent of the house, right? So that is the question. So maybe I should write it here. How much is the rent of the house, right? No. And then it says ijarul bayti, the rent of the house, right? Alfu riyalin. Alf is 1,000. 1,000. Okay. This is this number is used in the Quran when Allah talks about khayrum min alfi shahr, right? Better than 1,000 months, right? So it's 1,000. Alf is 1,000, and riyal is just a riyal. It's the currency of, it's a currency, right? Currency of Saudi country, right? So it's saying that the rent is 1,000 riyals. Okay, fi shahrin. Okay, remember I just recited the verse. Khayrun min alfi shahr. It's the same word is here. Shahr is month. Okay, so we have fi shahri means it's basically saying in the month. Okay, in the month. So basically what he's saying is that the rent of the house is 1,000 riyal in the month, right? Maybe in English we can also say in a month, right? But here is in the month, right? You can probably also see something going on here. When you say 1,000 of something, then you also construct, or you say it by using this idafa from, right? Arabic numbers are pretty complicated in Arabic language because there are many different rules. How do you say? Depends on what number, and depends on many different things, right? So one of the things is that when you talk about thousands, it will be in this kind of idafa construction. Okay, alfu shahrin, alfu riyalin. Okay, anything. Inshallah, we'll get more of these kind of numbers later, inshallah. Okay. So basically, you need a whole translation here. Is basically saying uh, the rent of the house is, well, I'll just write in number 1,000 what real in the month. Yeah. Now, and then we have kam hujratan. Now looks like they have the fatha here because it should be actually a fatha. Now kam ijara tal bayt. Obviously we cannot say ijaran here because why? Because this is part of idafa, right? Remember the first part. So that's why we cannot have tanwin here. Yes, but we should at least have a fatha. So we have kam hujratan fil bayt. See, it's a big mistake, right? After fi, you never say fil baita, right? So this book has a lot of typos, something that we need to be uh, paying attention, right? It should be fil bayti. Yes? Kam hujratan fil bayti. Now, how would you translate? Kam is, as I said, it could be how much or how many. Because we're talking about money here, that's why we translate how much. Here, we're talking about hujra. What is hujra? We had this word from the day one, right? Hujra is room. So, how many rooms? Here, you will be translating as what? How many room? How many room is in the house? So, in English, you probably will be saying how many rooms in plural form, right? How many rooms are in the house. But in Arabic, we always use singular. Okay, kam hujratan. Okay, this hujra is actually singular word. Kam hujratan fil bayti. How many rooms in the house? Okay. And the next one we have fil bayti thalathu hujuratin. Fil bayti thalathu hujuratin. Um, hujra, hujuratin, or hujuratun. This is actually a plural of the hujra. I think if you recall, there is a surah in Quran called Hujurat, and it is exactly the same word, which is the plural of hujra, rooms. Okay, so it's saying fil bayti, in the house, thalathu, thalath. Remember last time we had the number thalathatun, thalathatun, right? Now here we have thalathu. It's a thalathu is because of the idafa construction, it's that of construction. But we, just like any nouns and adjectives, we can also have the numbers can also have a masculine and feminine. Okay, so here it is masculine number, and the one that we memorized last time, it was a feminine number. Numbers in Arabic language is a little bit tricky and a bit complicated, especially how you use them, right? So there are a lot of rules. It's again, so I don't know if I should be explaining a lot of these rules right now. Inshallah, I'm hoping that all of these rules will be coming soon in the next chapters, or the later chapters. Okay. Okay. So the basically only thing I'm trying to say here is thalatha, thalathu is three. Okay. So it is not a mistake. It is actually the correct form of this number. So it's saying in the house there are three rooms, right? In the house there are three rooms. In the house there are three rooms, right? Uh, Now, you might be still wondering when what's going on here. There are rules how we say number from 1 to 2. There are rules how we say number from 3 to 10, right? There are rules how we say number from 11 to 12. There's rules for almost every group of numbers, right? So the one that they're showing you here is from number 3 to 10. And we also learn how to, or at least they're showing you how to say number 1000, right? What did we say about number 1000? It is in the form of idafa, right? It is form of construction. So you say 1000 pen, you say alfu qalamin. Okay, alfu qalamin, 1000 pens. Although I think to note here that although it is, we say 1000 reals, it should be plural, but we're using the singular form. Okay, so likewise, if you're saying 1000 pens, you will say alfu, you will say alfu qalamin. Alfu qalamin. Qalam is what? One pen, a pen, right? And the plural for pens is aqlam. Okay, that's pen. So although we're saying 1000 pens, we're not using the plural form. So these are one of those rules, it's you just have to kind of memorize these rules, right? Okay, so what's going on here is that when you're saying something from 3 to 10, the rules are even more trickier, right? So for example, first thing you have to know before you even construct or say the number 3 to 10, you have to know the noun in their singular form. So here is hujurat, you want to say 3 rooms. So what is the singular is what we had here, right? Hujuratun, right? Hujuratun, right? So if the noun in the singular form is feminine, which is the case here, right? It's feminine because we have the tamarbuta, right? If that's the case, then when you're saying number from 3 to 10, you have to use its opposite. So you have to use the masculine form. So for example, you want to say 3 pens, you cannot say uh, thalatha two. You cannot use the word thalatha with the tamarbuta because that is the feminine. Because it has to be, I'm telling you, the numbers are a little bit tricky, but I just don't know when they will introduce. So, but I'll just mention these things right now, and I really don't anticipate that you will understand the whole thing. But nonetheless, at least maybe some of the information you're getting that should be good enough now, right? Jay. So what we are saying is that if the noun is feminine, which is hujra, then you have to say the opposite gender. So you cannot say thalatha two, you have to say thalathu, which is what? Which is the masculine form of this number, right? Now, the next, here you cannot say the singular form, you have to say the plural. So what is the plural? Plural of hujra is hujurat. Okay, so now you have to use the plural, which is here hujurat. Okay, hujurat. And then you're not done because you have to know how do you construct these two words. Remember, when you have words side by side, you have to know its construction, right? So this is your idafa construction, right? So you have to say thalathu, you cannot have tanwin here, and hujuratin, which is the idafa form, right? It's a little bit complicated. I'll just give you one more thing. Just for example, the word we have qalam, you want to say 3 pens. You want to say 3 pens. How will you construct? The first thing you have to know the singular for pen, which is qalam, right? We just had this one qalam. Now qalam is masculine, right? So you have to start thinking now. You have to use the feminine number. So which is what? Thalatha, thalatha, right? So now that's done, right? Second, you have to know the plural of pen, which is aqlam, okay? Which is aqlam, right? Okay, so far so good. Now you have to put them in idafa construction. So you say thalathatu aqlamin. Alright, so that's how you say 3 pens. Okay, same thing will be for three, let's say 4 books. So you'll say arba'atu, arba'atu kutub. Okay, kutub. Kutub is kutubin, which is the plural of kitab. Okay, so why am I saying arba'atu with ta marbuta? Because the singular is kitab. Okay, so now let's see if you're getting it. How would we say 3? Uh, I don't know if we had the plural for bags or not. Remember, we say bag. How do you say 3 bags? We want to say 3 bags. The bag is, how do you say bag in Arabic? Haqiba. We say haqiba, right? Haqiba tun. So what's going on here? This is your feminine word, haqiba. You also have to know what is the plural of haqiba, which is what? Haqa'ib. I don't know if we had these words before. Anyway, if not, I'm just trying to explain the construction. Okay? Haqa'ib, right? So you have Now you know the singular of this word bag, and you know this is the feminine. Okay, so as soon as you know the singular is feminine, you have to use the opposite. So you cannot say thalathatun anymore. You have to say thalathu. Okay, and then you have to use the plural, which is haqa'ib, haqa'ib. Okay, and then you have to put on idafa form, thalathu haqa'ib. Right? So as you can see, I warned you, the numbers are a little bit complicated, especially when you start using them in a sentence. And there are rules for almost every different layers. You know, there's a rule for how do you say from 1 to 2, 3 to 10, how do you say from 12, 11 to 12, and then how do you say from 13 onward, and then how do you say 20? You know, it's a don't worry, inshallah, it will come slowly, inshallah, as long as you understand right now what's going on. Few things I just want you to take away from here is that numbers in Arabic can be both masculine and feminine, right? When you're counting the numbers, like you're saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that time you will say other than the first and second, because those are wahed and ithnan. Then from the three, you will say thalathatun, arba'atun with the ta marbuta. You're counting the number, you will say, and that's the default, ta marbuta. But then it can also have a masculine form, which we have here, thalathu, arba'u, khamsu, sittu, sab'u, and we will use them based on the rules. Okay, inshallah, I hope the book will give you a lot more examples and exercises about these numbers. So don't worry too much about them. I'm just giving you a little bit of this information. جيد. In the next page we have Hujratun Naumi. All right, Hujratun Naum. Right, so remember this kind of phrase is coming a lot, right? So that I don't have to mention anything about it. You should be looking at it and you understand that this is that idafa, the of construction, right? But what I do want to mention is that this kind of construction you use for two kinds of reason. One is when you're talking about possession, right? Something belongs to somebody or something of someone, right? This is a book of Muhammad, right? So you say Kitabu Muhammadin. Okay, so the same concept. But sometimes, as we saw before in the previous lessons, that this kind of expression you can also use for making a kind of different word, making a new word or new meaning, or at least have a compound word. Okay. For example, hujra is what? Room. A noun is sleep. Okay. A noun is the sleep. Right. So the word noun, naumun, naumun is sleep. Right. So now, what is hujratun naumi means? What do you think? You will say the room of sleep? Obviously, that's probably not going to make too much sense, but I'm pretty sure you're guessing what it means. It means bedroom. You understand? So we pretty much introduced a new word. We have a compound word. Even in English, you can see it's a compound word because you have a bed and you have a room, right? There are two different words, but then it's a compound word. You combine them together and you make a new word, right? Same thing is happening here. Here it's probably translating as the room of the sleep is probably not a better translation. You want to say bedroom. Hujratun naum is a bedroom. Okay. Same thing here. Well, here is probably in English we will also have two different words. Hujratu, it will be wa is and hujratu ta'am. Ta'am is food, right? So ta'am is the food. So the room of the food, no, you'll just say dining room. All right, you'll say dining room. Yes. And the next one you have wa hujratul maktabi. Now, this one, maktab is what? Maktab is office, right? Office. So you can say the office room. By the way, all of them are definite because you have alif lam here, right? So you need to say the bedroom, the dining room. Yes. No. And we have هل في البيت مكان الاستقبال. Okay, so you're saying هل في البيت مكان الاستقبال. So hal is a question. When you say hal, is basically you're asking a question. Depends on the statement. It will be either is, was, where, depends, right? So fil baiti is in the house. Makan means place. Makan is a place. Any place you call it. Hada makan. This is a place, right? Istiqbal. Istiqbal means it's to you know receive something, receiving, right? So basically, makanul istiqbal means reception. Reception. I hope that's the correct spelling. So this whole thing would be a reception, or you can say reception area. Makan is could be place, area, right? So here you can say makanul istiqbal is a reception area. So now you understand what's the question. How would you structure or make the question? So basically, it's asking: is there a reception area in the house? Or you can ask probably: is in the house reception area? However you translate in English, that's not my concern. The issue is that's what it's asking. It's basically asking if whether or not there is in the house fil bait makanul istiqbal. Is there any reception area in this house? And this is a question because you're starting with hal. And the issue is when you start with hal, it's just like English when you're asking somebody: is there something? Are, use, when it is and are, this kind of question. Does, how do you answer? You need to answer by what? Yes and no, right? Same thing. Hal is one of those questions, yes and no question. So you need to answer by la, which is no, no, right? Or naam, which is yes, right? So looks like we have the answer is yes, naam. Fil bayti, in the house, makanul istiqbal. Okay, so now you're translating: in the house there is uh, um, a reception area. Yes. Now then we have هل أمام البيت حديقة. So again, same question. هل أمام البيت, we should know exactly what it means. Front of the house. حديقة, we also know what حديقة means, is a garden. So هل أمام البيت الحديقة, basically same thing as asking whether or not there is a garden in the front of the house. Okay, so probably you'll translate like this: is there a garden in the front of the house? Yes, it's a quite a big sentence here, right? So that's basically what's going on. And then again, answering with naam, yes. أمام البيت حديقة. Yes, there is a garden front of the house. No. And the next one is هل البيت قريب من المسجد. Okay, so what's going on? We have a hal and kasra, and we had hal with sukun here, right? Hal. So it's the basic same rule that we had with the preposition, right? Sometimes min, it takes kasra, min al masjid. Why? It's the same situation. You had a sukun here, and you have alif lam, which also has a sukun. And in Arabic language, this is a problem. You cannot have a situation like that. So basically, what they do for making vowelization easier, they'll put a kasra. So you'll say halil baytu, right? Qaribun min al masjid. Halil baytu qaribun. What is qarib? Qarib is near. Remember what I said about qarib? When qarib comes, you will have min after qarib. So is the house close to al masjid, the mosque, right? So this is a question, and we should know every single rules what's going on here, right? We have preposition and kasra and all of these things, right? So the question uh, is the house close to the mosque, right? That's the question. And because it's starting with is, you need to answer with yes or no. And you say, Naam, al baytu qaribun min al masjidi. Yes, the house is close to the mosque. This thing should be quite easy to translate, inshallah. And the next one we have same situation. Halil baytu qaribun minas suq. We had this word suq before, right? Which is a market. Okay, so it's alif lam, so it will be the market. So is the house close to the market? Now it's saying la, means no, no. Okay, it's saying no. Al baytu ba'idun. Remember what ba'id means? Far. And what comes after ba'id? An. Far from. Okay, so it will be translated as a far from the market. So no, the house is far from the market. Yes? No. Okay. So next we have al-kalimatul jadida. Al-kalimatul jadidatu means the new words. Okay, so what is al-kalima? Al-kalima is the plural of kalima. Kalimatun, and the plural is kalimatun. Okay, so we have the word aina, right? We had aina, which is where. Kam is how many or how much. Things to keep in mind that after kam, you will have fatha. Okay, kam has many different usage in Arabic language, but the one that we're using right now, it is about asking about its number, right? So basically, it will be fatha after that. Kam kitaban, kam qalaman, how many books, how many pens, right? Ijarun is what is rent. Okay, house rent, car rents. Alf is thousand, thousand. Okay, real is just it's a real, like a dollar, rupee. Different country has a different currency, right? No, shah. You don't when you learn, you don't have to use the alif lam. Shahrun is month. Okay, alif lam is just the month. Naum is what? Naum is I'll just write the meaning, is sleep. Okay, makan is place or area, right? At-ta'am is food. Istiqbal is to receive. Istiqbal is receiving. Receiving. Okay. Naam is yes. La is no. Hal is a question. It's basically question. You're making a statement into a question. So how do you translate that will vary, sentence to sentence, right? Ana is I. Is a pronoun. I. I don't know if we had pronouns before. And anta is you. Okay, these are very important. So I and you. Anta is you for masculine. Okay, let me see if they give you, yes. So anti, okay, these are important stuffs here. Anti is you for feminine. Okay, so be careful. So in English we don't make this kind of distinction, right? You say you is you, but here in Arabic we say anta when you're talking to a male person, right? And when you're talking to a female person we say anti. And huwa is he, and here is she. And I think we also saw this kind of situation where we probably need to translate as it sometimes. And here we can also translate as it. Depends on the situation, right? In Arabic language, we just have one word. In English, we have it. In Arabic, we don't have it. So we have to use one of these to pronounce. Jade. Uh, so it's the next one we have. It's showing you a word starting with lam with fatha, laban. Laban can be milk, or it can be that yogurt drink, right? Now, And lisan is what? Tongue. Tongue. And luhum is what? Meat. Yes, we had all of these words before. And it's showing lam in different places, right? In the beginning, in the middle, and in the end, right? Here and is connected, and here and is not connected. Now, okay, Alhamdulillah. So we will wrap up here the first part of this lesson. Inshallah, in the next lesson, in the next video, we will be going to the exercises. Okay, so inshallah, I will see you the next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.